Hey everyone, Shua Allegra here. As I've been doing recently, I've been inviting friends, new friends and old friends, to have just different conversation about who they are, what they do, so that I can introduce you to them. Because many of them are doing good, all of them are doing great things that I think it's worth sharing. So today I have Keisha Pruden with me, and I'll let her tell us a little bit about who she is, what she does, and where she's located.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Um, my name is Keisha Pruden, and I am a wife of 26 years and a mom to two wonderful young men, ages 25 and 17. So those are my main things I tell people right off the bat. But what do I do? What does Keisha Pruden do? I am first a psychotherapist. I have been a therapist now for 20 years, getting a little long in the tooth, but I've been, doing therapy for 20 years. I am a licensure supervisor. So I supervise clinicians trying to get their credentials in the state of North Carolina, where I'm located. I do professional development, speaking engagements for mental health professionals, educators, just wanting to know more about mental health and autism. And then I'm an autism advocate. That is something that's very near and dear to my heart. I help prepare families and clients for IEP meetings. So I help do IEP meeting reviews, 504 reviews, behavior management plans, different things like that. And I actually, upon the request of clients and parents, I attend meetings just to help facilitate understanding and just making sure that the IEP plans best benefit, the student. So those are my hats. That's basically, what I do.
Yeah, thank you for all that you do. Both, from the professional side and the personal side. I'm grateful for people like you. I do a lot of work around mental health and disability and autism as well. And we deal with some of the same challenges in my home, and that's kind of what led me to being part of this field. So for you, how did you come to do what you do now? Like, what's your backstory?
Okay. So my backstory is I come from a family of helpers. That's what we do. Whether it's an official social work title or an official, therapist, helper, counselor, we are helpers. And so I've always wanted to be a helper for as long as I can remember, just listening to my, family members, just talking about people and how rewarding it is. And so I knew early on, even before I was a teenager, that I wanted to be, in the helping field. I'll tell a story. I wanted to be a psychiatrist. That was my goal. So I graduated high school and I said, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to be a psychiatrist. And then when I got to college, I found out what the requirements were to be a psychiatrist. And I was like, oh, I don't want to be a medical doctor. I want to help people. So what's like the thing under a psychiatrist? What can I do under that? And so my advisor was like, oh, a therapist. And I said, oh, I'll do that. So that was my path for psychotherapy and just wanting to help. As far as the autism part, that passion came about as far as my personal experience. My oldest son, who's 5, is on the autism spectrum. So our journey with him started when he was a little past a year old. And that time coincided actually with me going back to school for my graduate degree. And thankfully, my dual master's is in substance abuse, clinical counseling, and rehabilitation counseling. So the rehabilitation counseling piece helps those with disabilities. You learn all the rules and regulations, and you advocate for those disabilities. So it all fell in line together. So that's been my passion. So they've been together. Therapy and autism advocacy has been my passion for 20 years. And so that's what I've done. I've, started out doing therapy with my clients, advocacy with my son in the school system. And then as time went on, I branched off, in my practice to doing advocacy for clients as they would come in, for treatment. I would, the parent would sit there and I said, I have an IEP meeting coming up. What do I do? And so it just became a natural offshoot of what I was already doing to do the IEP reviews, 504 reviews, get parents prepped for meetings, give them the information, for the IDEA, just making sure that they were equipped, well equipped to go into the meetings and felt confident. And in cases where they did not feel confident, I would be available by phone or I would go in with them. So that has been, my journey with autism and with psychotherapy. And then as an offshoot from the advocacy came the professional development opportunities and the speaking engagement. So as I became more known in my area for being an autism advocate, people would just start calling and asking if I would come and do speaking engagements and, just talk to school systems, talk to other mental health professionals about autism, throughout the lifespan, because at this point I've experienced it from its beginning with my son to adulthood, because he's now 25. So I'm able to offer different insights into what autism looks like from toddler age to adult age. And often, what would you, if it was for, if you did it for free or no pay or whatever, what would you do? And the first thing that comes to my mind is autism advocacy. I could talk about it all day because it's my passion, is near to my heart. And it's also a part of, actually an offshoot of all of that. It's amazing that I'm talking about it. It's amazing. Everything goes off of each other. But I wrote, I'm also a published author. I forgot about that part. I'm also a published author. And I wrote a children's book based on my children's relationship with each other. And it's called And Me, Our Journey on the Spectrum. And it talks about the relationship between my oldest son, Aaron, and my youngest son, Bryant. And it just shows that, Aaron, has them, that he's still a loving older brother, and they still have a whole lot in common, and it's just a very good relationship. So, that book, again, was just organic. It just came as a result of me wanting to show younger children that you don't have to be afraid of someone with autism, that they often have the same interests that you have. I also wrote that book because I wanted to show us, and when I say us, I mean African Americans. I wanted to show us in the autism community, because you don't see us a lot. You don't see us in media print. You don't see us online. You don't see us in research studies. You just don't see us. So I wanted to show that not only are we here in the community, but we are thriving, and we're loving, we're nurturing, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that our children have their definition of a meaningful day. So I'm very excited, about having written that book, and I'm in the process of writing a second children's book, and it's in Our Journey of the Spectrum series.
Nice.
And this book will be based on my husband and my perspective. And the first book was written from my youngest son's perspective. The second book will be written from me and my husband's perspective. So we're just excited. This life has just been a journey for us. But we realize that it hasn't been just for us. It's been to help other people.
Yes.
So it's been exciting. It's been scary. It's had its ups and downs. It's our life.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. As you're talking, I'm here nodding and just saying yes, yes, because we have so much in common. But I do appreciate that. I was going to bring it up. I'm glad you brought it up. That we don't talk a lot in general. Society in general does not talk a lot about African American in the autism spectrum. We don't see ourselves, although there's many of us, right? I have two kids who actually do have a diagnosis of autism, and we came a long way. And sometimes people now can say, I can't tell that they have autism. Like, well, we worked hard on it, and there's still things that they struggle with. So it is good to bring that awareness. It's good to also advocate for diversity in those smaller niches if you want. So I appreciate what you do, and yes, I will definitely be looking, looking at that children's book for my own kids, and then sharing it out also with others. And we'll make sure we put the links of on in the description how people can follow up with all the things that we're talking about here. Thank you. My next question will be, then, you've been doing this for 20 years, you are doing it obviously, for all the right reason, the advocacy and helping other families. At the end of the day, what keeps you going? Like, why are you still doing this 20 years later?
Because I don't see myself in anything else. This is the only thing I've ever really wanted to do. Is
Mm,
and even though at this point in life doing different things, they all have the undercurrent of helping other people. If I'm a therapist, I'm helping people. If I'm an advocate, autism advocate, I'm helping people. If I'm doing professional speaking, licensure supervision, professional development, I'm helping people. If I'm writing a book um, about autism and sibling relationships, I'm helping people. And
mm,
I forgot, I wrote another book
mm,
called Walking with Moo and Other Adventures of Faith. And that book is actually based on walks I've had with my youngest son. His name is Bryant, but his nickname is Moo. That's his family name. And so I wrote that book again. It's based on Facebook posts, spiritual breaking that I had that and so at the end of the day, I feel like that I am fulfilling my life purpose, and that is to help people. So no matter what I'll do in my life, from here, from the time I've been 20 something on now to being a therapist, and no matter what I'll be doing on my life, with or in, it'll be helping people because at the core, that's who I am. I'm a helper.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, thank you for helping. So I guess to close up, my last question would be, since you have such a big heart to help others and support others, how can we support you?
Oh, that's awesome. You can support me by the website www.keisha, click on Keep Author in my books there. You can support me by purchasing copies of the book and just spreading the awareness about autism, sibling awareness, sibling love, relationships that are positive in the autism community, and also just spreading the word about, if you're a believer, just being encouraged to keep on, keep pressing, just remember God's promises, remember that he's faithful and he can do nothing, he can do everything but fail. So those who want to support, you can support me in that way, and I would really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. I know I'm going to be getting the book for my kids to share with them, and appreciate what you're doing. Not just here spend time with me, but sharing with all the things that you do to help so many others. And for everybody else listening, we'll put the links here to follow, get her book. Like she said, continue having those conversation about, helpful relationships and sibling, relationship and supporting people on the autism spectrum. But I think also for both of us, we can echo as far as coming from the mental health piece for all of us, take care of yourself, seek help when you need it. and make sure that you have the support that you need for your full family, for everybody else involved in your family. All right. So that's all I had for today. Thank you again for being here.
All right.